Alright guys, so I'm out here today, I'm playing with the Amphibio, and I'm walking around trying this thing out. I've got about 30 hours on a field hunting. I need to do some park hunting and schools and some different sites and see what I think. So, as I'm walking around, something's on my mind, and I just want to talk about it. A few months back, maybe a month and a half ago, I wrote an article on all the misinformation out there, whether it's Facebook, YouTube especially, and it just drives me crazy. People new to the hobby going off of what people that really don't know what they're talking about, taking their information and buying detectors and doing things to this from these, because they follow these YouTubers and stuff that are giving out bad information. Seems like a lot of people getting into this hobby, they've been in it a hot second and they're experts. Look, I've been at this roughly 23 years. I'm no expert. I'm still learning. I still make mistakes. It happens. But something that really bothered me, I watched a video a while back, somebody sent it to me, of this Calabash digger, I think is what he's called. And he's just trashing Tesoros. And that's fine. I mean, everybody has their right. Look, I'm not brand loyal. I've got Rudis, Garrett, Nocta Macro, Mind Lab, sitting at home. I've got them all. Tesoros, of course. But what bothers me is this guy's just trashing Tesoros. And look, I'm not trying to start an argument or a fight. I don't want to, I don't want to fight with this guy or anything. But people shouldn't be talking about what they don't know. And so I'm gonna give you a little rundown of my experience with Tesoros and how I got into them and stuff. So many years ago, I used to go to this chat room. Well, it wasn't a chat, it was a metal detecting forum with a chat room, and you could actually talk on it. You could talk to other people through your computer, not through Skype or anything else, just through this setting, through this chat room this guy had set up. And I used to talk to this guy, I can't even remember his name, out of Virginia. And this guy had an amazing Civil War collection. And he used a Tesoro. I'm pretty sure he used either the Teon. I'm really not positive. I think it was a Teon, but it might have been a Vaquero. For some reason now I'm thinking Vaquero. But anyhow, not the point. Using the Tesoro and just killing it. All these amazing Civil War finds. And, even at 23 years into this, VDI has been around since I started. And I could never wrap my mind around, why would somebody want a detector with a VDI, without a VDI, like a Tesoro? And he said, Mike, it works. And he said, there's really not much you can use in this mineralized ground. He said this Tesoro kicks butt in the mineralized ground. So years later, so now we're talking like 7 or 8 years ago, I met a guy that had multiple detectors, E-Track, an Explorer, I want to say a Fisher F75. I believe he had a T2. I'm trying to think what I want to say he had like an MXT as well. I'm not positive. This guy has a lot of detectors, a lot of experience, and he's a heck of a hunter. We used to get together and show each other finds. We'd meet up for a hunt, and we'd show each other what we found, or over the years or recently. And one time he brought like a gallon bag of gold rings. Now, it wasn't full, but it was the most gold rings I'd ever seen. And I was just blown away by that. And how'd you do this? Gold's hard to find in the parks and schools and stuff, in the trashy areas. And he smiled real big and he said, with a Tesoro. Now, he told me the model, and again, I don't remember. I think it was a silver UMAX. I'm pretty sure on that. And I said, how? You know, he said, Mike, I can go to these parks. And he said, I can turn the knob on a target, and I can tell the difference between a nickel, a pull tab, and a gold ring. He said 99% of the time, he said, that's how good the disc knob is. I was blown away. My next experience with it was this. Met up with a friend. We met up with a couple that owned a bunch of property. They lived in between us, and we were about 3 hours apart. He brought his, oh shoot, I'm trying to think now. The $160 Tesoro, the cheapest one you can get. I'm sorry, guys. I apologize. Not the Mojave. The Mojave's the new one. I'll think of it in a second. But anyhow, he brought that. He showed the lady, set it up, put the disc on iron, so it disced out iron. Handed it to her, and he said, swing it when it beeps double. You know, beep, 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 beep. He said, dig it. He said, you'll get little cut up signals and stuff. We're field hunting. We're in a field that is just littered with iron. And I stayed real close because I was curious how this little $160 detector could handle this iron. And it did, amazingly. She'd get little chirps here and there, but you would never dig them. And then, all of a sudden, beep, 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 she digs a flat button. 5 minutes later, beep, 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 she digs an Indian head. Then another flat button. She hunted for maybe 20 minutes and she was done. But it was so impressive to me because I'm right next to her. I'm close enough, and I'm running an E-track in two-tone, and that thing's just grunting and screaming. You know, if you've ever relic hunted in two-tone and heavy iron with an E-track, you know what I'm talking about. And that little compadre was running almost silent. It was so impressive. So I ended up getting a Tesoro. I tried Fishers, Whites. I had an E-track at the time. What else did I try? I tried like 4 different detectors. I was looking for a better relic machine in Ohio, which is pretty neutral ground, pretty clean ground. I needed something that worked better in the iron, that wasn't so heavy. And I tried all these different detectors, and none of them were better than what I had. They might have been a little bit lighter or something, but not one of them did I have more confidence in it than the E-track. So I took a chance, and I got a Tesoro, and it immediately blew me away. It was sensitive on small targets. It handles the iron better than anything. Yeah, they're old school. They're not. They're single tone. Most of them are single tone detectors. They don't have VDI readouts. They're analog instead of digital, but they handle the iron better than almost every single detector out there. I've hunted with so many detectors now. You know, even up to that point, 10 years ago, I'd probably hunted with 20 different detectors. And they just handle the iron better than anything I've seen. There's something about that technology. So what I'm saying is, and I still use Tesoros. I've got 2 sitting at home right now. Believe me, that's not my collection. I don't know if you can see in the background right there's the new Amphibio. Not brand loyal. I use a lot of different detectors, but it's not even about Tesoro. From last I heard, they're probably going out of business. But what I'm saying is, you've got all this misinformation out there, and people that don't know what they're talking about. And I don't care. I'm not judging the guy. Whatever. Everybody makes mistakes. I'm not trying to cause issues again. But I can tell you, Tesoros still have their place. I've seen it firsthand, and they can be amazing. Watch out for these. The article I wrote was a lot about these test boards. These test boards are garbage. Detectors are made to detect in the ground, to find objects in the ground, not plastered to a board. Air test, that's another horrible example. Yeah, you can get a little information out of that. I mean, there is, but reliable? No. Trustworthy? Absolutely not. VDI numbers are often wrong. I don't care if a detector, these test beds, and a lot of these guys, all their videos are test beds. That's great, and you can get some information from that as well. But if you want to do a real test bed and you want to compare detectors, because there's so much more than depth that you need to worry about. Separation of targets, how it handles mineralized ground, and all this other stuff. So when you put a dime at 10 inches and you hit it with your detector, I don't care. Now have one with a piece of iron below it. Have one with a piece of iron above it. Have one with a piece of iron to the side, and right on the other side is a pull tab. Do 100 dimes with all these different scenarios, then quarters, then other coinage. Got to throw in the copper coins, and do 100. You have 300 things buried in your ground with all these different scenarios, and I'll pay a little bit better attention, but it's still not real world. I've seen guys air test these detectors and test gardens, and they get out in real world where there's real trash and where there's real targets, and it'll drive them crazy. They think they love this detector by their because of their results in the test beds and stuff, but it's just not real world experience. Whenever I get a new detector, that's why I'm at a park right now. I'm pounding it, digging up targets, learning the detector, and that's how you do it. Just if you're gonna watch guys that are out detecting, that are showing, I don't do it. I rarely get the chance now that I've got the baby to get out. So when I get out, I want to just go metal detect. I don't want to sit there and do videos and show stuff. And I probably will get into it at some point. That's my escape from kids, from responsibilities and everything else, and it's not as fun for me to sit there and do videos, but maybe in the future. But that's it. That's my my ramblings today, and hope you learned something from it, because there's a lot of misinformation. Be skeptical. Don't take all those videos to heart using test boards and all that, because they're not always accurate. Thanks for listening. You can check out allmetalmode.com. You go there in navigation, you can see articles. I have several metal detecting articles out there every Monday and Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All Metal Mode podcast, you can find it on Spreaker every Thursday, 8 p.m. GMT time, which is UK time. All Metal Mode UK. Thanks for listening.